Welcome back, everyone, to Leadway Mission Devotion. Today, we're diving into a really insightful devotion by Kemi Oludapo. It's titled Reward of Serving.
Mm-hmm. And it follows on so well from Adeji's devotion yesterday, doesn't it? It's like they're building this picture of active service.
They really are. Today, Kemi gets us thinking about, well, the rewards that naturally come from serving.
That's right. And the scripture Kemi uses for today is Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10. Let me read that from the New Living Translation.
Okay.
For God is not unjust. He will not forget how hard you have worked for him and how you have shown your love to him by caring for other believers as you still do.
He will not forget. That's powerful right there. So yesterday, the focus was kind of on the call to serve, this invitation.
Yeah. And Kemi adds this layer saying, okay, when you serve wholeheartedly, it's not just duty, it's love and rewards. They just naturally flow from that love.
It's an interesting perspective, isn't it? Not like, I serve so I get rewarded.
Exactly. Not transactional at all.
Yeah.
Kemi seems to be suggesting that serving out of love aligns us with, well, with God's will, with a deeper purpose. And the blessings, the rewards, they're almost a natural consequence of being in that alignment. It makes you think about why we do things, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, if you're living in a way that reflects God's heart, good things naturally follow. And Kemi also highlights something really important. A lot of service is unseen, right? Behind the scenes.
Oh, totally. She gives those great examples, like the usher, always there with a smile, or the people praying faithfully, quietly.
Yeah, or the cleaners, the Sunday school teachers, prepping lessons.
Stuff that might not get applause. But Kemi's point is, God sees it. It's deeply significant to him.
That really resonates. Significance isn't always about being visible, is it? It's the heart.
It's the heart.
And this is where Kemi brings in that story, Peter's mother-in-law, from Mark chapter 1. Can you remind us about that?
Sure. So Mark chapter 1, verses 29 through 31. Jesus goes to Simon and Andrew's house. Simon's mother-in-law is sick with a fever.
Right.
They tell Jesus. He goes to her, takes her hand, helps her up. The fever leaves. And she immediately begins to wait on them, serve them.
And Kemi connects that immediate service to something bigger, doesn't she?
She does. It suggests her first response to healing wasn't just relief, but like an outpouring of gratitude expressed through service. And then the ripple effect. That same evening, the whole town shows up, and Jesus heals many more. It's like her service, born from her encounter, kind of opened a door for the whole community.
Wow. That paints a picture, doesn't it? How one person's service can expand outwards.
Definitely.
Then Kemi shares the story of George Miller, such an inspiring figure. What's the connection to service there?
Well, Miller dedicated his entire life to caring for orphans in 19th century England. Over 10,000 kids.
10,000. It's staggering.
It really is. And the key thing Kemi highlights is his method. He didn't fundraise in the usual way. He relied completely on prayer for provision while just focusing on the service, on caring for the children.
Just pure faith in action.
Exactly. And Kemi points to the outcome, consistent, miraculous provision, food arriving just in time, donations appearing out of nowhere.
Wow.
She presents it as a real-world example of the rewards, the provision that can follow that kind of faith-filled service. Sort of asks us, what does that kind of trust look like for us today?
That's a big question. Okay, so Kemi actually outlines some specific rewards, doesn't she? Let's touch on those. First, spiritual growth. How does serving help us grow?
Well, think about it. When you're focused on others' needs, you're naturally less focused on yourself, right? It stretches you, builds empathy, patience, selflessness. You grow closer to understanding God's love in the process.
That makes sense. Then she mentions answered prayers, like with Mueller, and she uses Isaiah chapter 58, verses 10 and 11.
Yes, let me read that. If you spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like the noonday. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail.
Okay. So serving others, it kind of opens a channel for God's guidance and provision in our own lives.
That seems to be Kemi's interpretation, yes.
Yeah.
Like our service aligns us to receive those answered prayers.
And she also mentions healing. We saw that with Peter's mother-in-law, and just that sense of joy, fulfillment.
knowing you're making a difference.
And finally, divine provision. She brings in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33.
Right. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well.
So prioritize serving God's purposes.
And your own needs get taken care of,
Yeah.
almost as a byproduct. It's not the goal, but it happens when you seek his kingdom first through service. That's the idea.
It's crucial, though, as Kemi says, that these rewards aren't always, what we expect, but they're real.
Absolutely. Both immediate and internal significance. And maybe the biggest takeaway is just becoming that tangible expression of the God's love through our actions.
Which leads right to her final thoughts, really. She's talking directly to the listener, isn't she?
She is, saying, hey, you listening your service, big or small, seen or unseen, it matters. You're an agent of the kingdom, a channel for blessing.
Your labor isn't wasted.
Never in vain in God's eyes.
Yeah.
She encourages perseverance even when it's tough or feels unnoticed, because the ultimate reward comes from God himself.
Yeah. It's a really hopeful and encouraging message to end on, trusting that serving with joy, with humility, brings those blessings.
Definitely.
Well, that was a fantastic devotion from Kemi. So much to think about. If you want to read more, just head over to devotion.leadwaymission.ca. And of course, you can find this deep dive and others wherever you get your audio: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Audible, Podbean, you name it. Just search for Leadway Mission.
And join us again tomorrow for another devotion.
Every seed you sow takes root someday in the soil of grace where blessings stay. Each tear and prayer is not unknown. You're building more than brick and stone. Your labor's not in vain, no, not in vain. Every small act builds eternal gain, a treasure that time cannot erase, a crown of light in heaven's embrace. When the weight of work feels so unfair, and you're wondering if God even cares, remember the hands that bore the nails. His promise of love never fails. Your labor's not in vain, no, not in vain. Every small act builds eternal gain, a treasure that time cannot erase, a crown of light in heaven's embrace. Oh, the harvest is plenty, though the fields are wide. Every faithful heart is a shining guide. So keep pressing on through the trials and pain. The Lord sees it all and calls your name. Your labor's not in vain, no, not in vain. Every small act builds